Power 104.1, The Source, Memphis #1 Southern Soul and R&B station. This is your main man, Tate Jones, on the microphone. Say it with me one time, Tate Jones on the microphone. And I want to welcome everybody out on this Sunday afternoon to the Tate Jones Show. I am so excited. I am supercalifragilisticexpialidocious excited today. So you go tell a friend to tell another friend that Tate Jones is on the microphone, and today's guest is a living legend, y'all. I mean, Memphis on, y'all. I'm talking, we got James Alexander from the legendary Barcades. And we're going to go ahead and take care of a couple of commercial breaks right now, and when we come back, we will have none other than Mr. James Alexander. Power 104.1, The Source, Memphis #1 Southern Soul and R&B station. This is your main man, Tate Jones, on the microphone. And everybody, if you will, no matter where you at, if you're in your car, if you're in your house, you're in your office, you're at church right now, listen to us on your Bluetooth phone. Well, everybody, please give a warm round of applause for Mr. James Alexander. Mr. Alexander, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm somewhere between the sky and the earth. I'm not touching ground nowhere.
I like that, and I'm supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I am so excited today, man. We've been talking for a little while now, almost ever since I started this station. I'm like, hey, Mr. Alexander, I got to get you on here. We're always preaching about how I will compare Memphis to any city in the world when it comes to music. And I'm glad to have one of Memphis' founding sons right here with us today.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here, man. Glad really we finally getting together to do this thing, man. Let's do it.
Well, let's do it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I always like to start my interviews out, just give it a little background and history. Who is James Alexander?
James Alexander. James Alexander is a guy from, I was born in Soulsville, as they call it. I was born, Stax Records is 926 East McLemore.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? I was born at 925 East McLemore.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
A little known fact, 925 East McLemore was a clinic. It wasn't officially a hospital. It was a clinic. And so we lived about a couple of blocks from there. So I guess, according to my parents, when my mom went into labor, because most people in Memphis, back in those days were born at John Gaston.
Right.
John Gaston
Exactly.
Hospital. So, hey, we lived a block away. So my dad took my mom around the McLemore Clinic. And they delivered the baby boy around there. And
Wow.
Here I am.
Let me throw something in there.
Yeah.
The first rental property I bought in Memphis was 1605 East McLemore.
How about that?
Now, also, let me throw something else in there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I can't think of the name, but it's only a block over. Wasn't Aretha Franklin born in the house like a block over from McLemore?
It was maybe a couple of blocks. It was in that same neighborhood.
It was in that same neighborhood.
In the same neighborhood, and the street I actually grew up on, which was called Stafford Avenue, which a couple of years ago was changed to James E. Alexander Avenue.
You got to give it up for it. You got to give it up.
Man, unbeknownst to me, we were talking and my wife asked me, said, what are you doing on such and such a date? And I said, I don't know. She said, well, you got to go to this ceremony. I said, what ceremony? Your street renaming ceremony. I said, street renaming? I didn't even know anything about it.
Wow.
But man, they had invited all my family members. Family members from all over the country. I had over 500 people, man, to show up for my street renaming ceremony, man. And it was such an honor, man. You don't take those type things for granted. And Sheriff Bonner, man, donated 12 squad cars. They blocked off all the surrounding streets, so you couldn't even drive a vehicle up in there. You had to, they blocked off all the streets.
Almost like with Beale Street, how they block it off.
Yeah, they had it all blocked off, man. And we had a big reception at the Stax Museum. Mm-hmm. So it was a great thing, man.
Speaking of Stax Museum, when you first got started, I done saw many documentaries about Stax and about the barcades. Now, when you first got in this thing, you was like, what, 15, 16 years old somewhere?
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I was a youngster. Just say that. I was young.
You were young. Because, I got to throw this in there. Because when I interview legends like yourself, I started to hear a pattern. Now, I'm thinking about Miss Shirley Brown. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember she told me, in St. Louis, her and a friend had snuck in this club. They were underage. And I want to say it might have been Mr. Albert King. They said, is anybody in here can sing? Then they said, this girl right here can sing. And it was her. And of course, she was underage. Mm-hmm. Now, when I think about to my little history, back when they had those Tyson fights here in Memphis.
Right.
I was taking pictures at a club called Denim and Diamond back then.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time ago. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Devin Steele probably was.
Yeah, Devin Steele, he was definitely there. Now, there was a little young guy that ended up coming in that adult nightclub. I mean, he had to be 10, 12 years old. You know who it was?
Who was it?
It was Bow Wow.
Wow.
It was Bow Wow. He was not 21. He was not 18. So, for as musical geniuses like you guys, going into the clubs at an early age, that's nothing new, I see.
No, that's nothing new. In fact, there was this club that we used to play at down on Beale Street. In fact, the address was 500 Beale Street. Mm-hmm. It was called the Hippodrome. It's a parking lot now. I don't even think it's a parking lot. They got it, they got it fenced off. It's just, a bunch of weeds and stuff like that. But the Hippodrome was a skating rink. Mm. It was a skating rink by day, and at night they turned it from a skating rink into a nightclub. And that's where we really got our start. We were playing underage. We were playing in this club. And back then, if anybody know anything about Memphis, especially the older people, they had an organization. It's in the police department called the Vice Squad.
Okay.
The Vice Squad would go in and raid clubs. And they didn't take nobody to jail, but if you were underage, they would just call your parents and tell them to come get you. They're not supposed to be being in no club.
Right.
So we was playing in this club underage, and the club owner, he had connections. So when the Vice Squad getting ready to come to his club, they called and say, hey, we coming to your club next. He get us off the stage, lock us up in the dressing room. They raid the club, get all the youngsters out of there. As soon as they leave, put us back on stage. Yeah.
That's the way it worked.
Yes, the way it worked.
Now,
Yep.
you are a legendary bass player, correct?
That's what they keep telling me.
I believe it's a true thing. So how did you pick up your first bass guitar? Where did it come from?
Well, I mean, actually, believe it or not, I didn't really pick it up. I was playing tuba, like
really
in the marching band. And unbeknownst to me, my dad had gone down to the pawn shop on Beale Street because Beale Street was had a lot of clubs and pawn shops and stuff of this nature back in the day.
Okay.
Beale Street was a thriving street. So my dad had put this bass guitar and amplifier in the layaway, right? And he didn't really tell me anything about it until he was going to pick it up. He said, I need you to get in the car and ride downtown with me on Beale Street. And he got it out of the layaway. And I didn't know how to play bass at the time. So this band used to rehearse every Saturday. They had a band, but the bass player didn't have a bass. So I would ride my bike over to their rehearsal every Saturday and let him use my bass so they could start rehearsal, right? So this one particular Saturday I rode over to the rehearsal. The bass player didn't show up. They said, man, we ready to start this rehearsal. Well, who's going to play bass? And they said, you. I said, but there's one problem. I can't play. They said, we'll teach you enough, to get through this rehearsal. because the guitar player played bass too. So
Okay.
So he showed me a few little things on the bass. So the next Saturday I rode over there, got my bass out, getting ready to let their bass player use it. And I gave him the bass, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm giving the bass player the bass so y'all can start rehearsing."
Right.
They said, "Why are you giving him the bass?" "Because he's the bass player." They said, "No, he's not the bass player anymore." "Who's the bass player?" "You."
Wow.
I said, "There's one problem. I can't play." But they said, no worries. We'll teach you enough to get through it. And so that's really how I got into the Barcades. I was the youngest member to get in. Little did I know that the Barcades would perish, and I would end up taking over the whole thing.
Wow, that's amazing right there. That's an amazing story. I hadn't heard that story before, so I'm excited to get it right here on the Tate Jones Show. Well, y'all, we got a couple of commercials we need to go take care of, but we'll be right back with more of James Alexander from the legendary Barcades. Power 104.1, The Source, Memphis #1 Southern Soul and R&B station. This is your main man, Tate Jones, on the microphone. Say it with me one time. Tate Jones on the microphone. And we got the legendary James Alexander in the Power Studios today. We just so excited. We just found out how he learned to play for the very first time. And it's because somebody wasn't there. So that means you was at the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time. You better believe it. Now, one thing I want to get into, back in those days, you didn't have integrated bands like you guys did over there at Stax.
Well, when the Barcades really came into play, there was one white guy in our group. It was 5 black guys and 1 white guy. Now, if anybody know anything about Memphis, Memphis back in those days, it ain't too much change now. They just cover it up a different way. Was very segregated.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all had transferred to Booker T. Washington High School, which, anybody know anything about Memphis, Booker T. Washington High School. There are many high schools in Memphis, but Booker T. Washington is the high school there where we lead and others follow.
That's right. Let me say, Maurice White.
Don't get it twisted. Maurice White, Booker T. Jones, James Alexander.
There you go.
Dr. W.W. Harrington.
There you go.
And the list goes on and on.
It goes on and on. BTW, baby.
BTW. But anyway, so this white guy went to Central High School, which Central at the time was a predominantly white school.
Mm-hmm.
But we all wanted to be together. So in the mid 60s, can you imagine him going to his parents and telling them that he wanted to transfer to Booker T. Washington High School, which is a predominantly black school?
Right.
This white boy.
Yeah.
Going to his parents. His parents said, "Look, I mean, they think he done failed and bumped his head."
I can imagine that.
But as it turned out, he did transfer to Booker T. Washington. They didn't want him to, but he did because he wanted to be over there with the rest of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he was the only white guy at Booker T. Washington.
And the whole school.
Huh?
The whole school, he was the only white guy.
The whole school. And look, and everybody accepted him. I mean, he could walk in the Foot Home, Claiborne Homes, which was a big housing project over in that area. Nobody messed with him. Hey, Ronnie. His name was Ronnie. He had a black girlfriend.
Oh, really?
The whole 9 yards. They accepted him. They accepted him, and he was quite a musician as well. So that's how we really launched our career, really, as the Barcades. Really, Booker T. Washington had a lot to do with it.
Man, I tell you what, I've heard so many good things about Booker T. Washington. Now, me and my time in Memphis, I used to go to a restaurant that was right behind Booker T. Washington High School.
The Gay Hawk?
The Gay Hawk, there you go. So
you knew about the Gay Hawk?
Well, I knew about the Gay Hawk for as a restaurant, but I did some research and saw that it turned into a nightclub, but there was a lot of famous people that came through the Gay Hawk.
Oh, yeah, of course. There's a gentleman that in his later years as he got older, by a guy by the name of Frog. I don't know if you ever heard of that guy, DJ Frog.
I've heard of DJ Frog.
Yeah, DJ Frog was he actually was a bass player because when I really started learning the bass, I used to slip into this club called the Flamingo Room and watch him play bass because he was a hell of a bass player. So I used to watch him a lot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to say, I don't know if it's the same DJ Frog, but I remember going to a party. I was taking pictures for this party, and they played some old school stuff. And it was a woman, she was standing up, and she had her legs open, and a guy got on the floor, and he was bouncing between her legs. And I want to say his name was DJ Frog, but I don't know.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
I never seen it. I said, that look like something from the 60s right there. So.
Hey, they was doing all kinds of stuff back then, dude. I mean, pretty much like it is now, but I think everything back then it was kind of like done in a different taste.
Right.
It wasn't it wasn't as could I say vulgar? I don't know. It wasn't like that back then.
Right.
People just having fun.
Right. I've seen that the Blues Brothers. The Blues Brothers. And I like that the original Blues Brothers because, it have icons that's in there, like Aretha Franklin, you have Ray Charles, and then they always do a dance routine. And like that particular one with Ray Charles, he would call out the different dances that they would do, like the monkey, the Watusi, all that kind of stuff.
Mashed potatoes. All this stuff. Yeah. That's the way it was back then, man.
It is so funny how things triculate to the future because they still do it now. I mean, they call them line dances now.
Right. Well, there's a well-known politician. Her dad was big in that thing. A guy by the name of Major Lance. He had a song called Monkey Time, and his daughter is Keisha Lance Bottom.
That name sounds familiar, but I feel
Major Lance.
Yeah.
Keisha Lance Bottoms. She was the mayor of Atlanta.
I knew that name.
She's running for governor. She's running for governor of Georgia. Right now. With her dad had a big song. You can go back and research it called the Monkey Time. Do the monkey.
Do the monkey. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to know here on YouTube as well as on Power 104, I'm sitting next to living legend. I'm talking about knowledge. When it comes to this music thing for the last 60 plus years, this man knows it. I mean, he really knows it. I mean, legends that he have worked with. The first one I want to bring up is Otis Redding.
Man, what can I say about Otis Redding, man? Legendary. For a man that who passed away at 26 years old, he accomplished so much. He was the guy that told us, for all of you young people that started in the music business, y'all need to really hear this. He was the one that said to us, why would you record a song and give it to the record company? You came up with the song, so guess what? You should own the song. You shouldn't give it to the record company, but unbeknownst to us, we didn't know any better when we started out. So the first time we recorded, we didn't even read the contract. We just signed.
Just so happy to
we were just so happy to belong.
Right.
We needed to belong to somebody.
There you go.
And so we were so happy to belong. We just signed it on the dotted line, but we signed all our rights away.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned, the hard way. So our first recording, which out of our 350 song catalog is still the number one song in the catalog, and that song is called Soul Finger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Soul Finger.
But we signed it all the way, to the record company. We didn't know any better. But Otis Redding taught us about that. He also he took us all over the country with him, and he just was an amazing guy.
I know he was. Now, another thing I want to touch on is Watts Stacks.
Watts Stacks.
That's 1972, right?
Yes.
That's the year I was born. But
Oh, wow.
I am a student of Watts Stack. I'm a big fan of them. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it was something. I mean, just to be there. I mean, that was right after the L.A. riots,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in L.A. Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum,
Mm-hmm.
and 100,000 black people were there, and
they charged $1 each, didn't they?
right.
$1.
They didn't want the LAPD to do the security for the building, so they hired the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam did the security for the whole building inside and out. And can you imagine 100,000 people with no incidents?
Wow.
And this was right after the LA riots. I mean, people just wanted to come and have a good time. And we were fortunate enough to be on that show, and it was great.
Now, do you know how that actually came about? Who put that together? How did they come together?
A gentleman who ended up being the president of Stax Records, along with Jim Stewart. But the person that really had the most to do with it, to put it together, to my knowledge, was Mr. Al Bell.
Mr. Al Bell, that's right.
Right.
Oh yeah, believe me, I done watched that documentary about Stax many times. I go when I need inspiration. I'll be honest with you. When I need inspiration about moving forward with this radio station, I go look at that Stax documentary.
That's something to look at, man.
It really
It's
is.
something to look at. It's a lot of history. I mean, a lot of information. I mean, a lot of information. And I say this to all youngsters, not just youngsters, but people. Go back and know your history. As you know, in the political arena, they're trying to take history. They're trying to take where we all come from out of the libraries, out of the classrooms, out of the they're just trying to make it like it's stink. But that's going to be hard to do. But you need to fight to keep it going.
That's true.
Because you need to know where your ancestors came from. You need to know where you came from.
That's definitely true.
Right.
I had a burden, I would say, that was put on my shoulders, but I'm not going to really call it a burden. The living legend, Bobby Rush, 92 years old, he looked me in the eye, he said, Tate, keep the blues alive. So that's what I'm trying to do over here at Power 104, because the blues and the R&B and all our culture, I want to keep it alive right here in this one central space. And like you said, you got to know your history so you don't repeat it. And it just so happened, I was looking at a show the other day, and they said there are some AI companies that are buying up rare books and destroying them. They're buying up rare books and destroying them, because if you don't have those books to refer back to, and you can only go by what AI say or what the internet shows us, then what proof do you have that it actually happened? So they are, like you were saying, they are trying to erase history in so many ways.
Right. So it's important that we preserve this by all means necessary.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now some of the other greats that I know you work with over there at Stax is Isaac Hayes.
Yeah, Isaac Hayes, believe it or not, back in the day, we had a band, and I was part of his band. He had a band called Isaac Hayes and the Doodads.
The Doodads.
And I was one of the Doodads.
Okay.
And we had a gig that we played in West Memphis, Arkansas, at a place called the Plantation Inn.
Mm-hmm.
And we played that club for 1 year. We played it 6 nights a week. From 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., 6 nights a week. That's when I was in high school. So can you imagine me sitting up in class,
Fall asleep.
Teacher said, wake up. But we played this club for over a year, 6 nights a week.
So how many sets did y'all do in that period?
We did, about 5 or 6 sets. We did what we did. We did this thing called the 45-15. On 45, take a 15-minute break every hour.
You know what? And the reason I want to bring that up, because you know Mr. A, right? Mr. A, the promoter.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. A, he told me he said I've been promoting 50 years. So with that being said, when you look at today, because Mr. A was saying, you would get a band and they'll do several different sets. He said now when you book a group, you got to book 3 or 4 group because they only want to do maybe 20, 30 minutes.
Well, that's because a lot of these new bands. I mean, they don't have a repertoire to play all of these songs. I mean, it would be nothing for us to know. I mean, just off the top of our head, let's say conservatively 100 songs.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of things have changed over the years.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
We had and then not just one genre of songs. I mean, we had to learn. I mean, not just blues, jazz, R&B. We had to learn all kind of stuff because you had all kind of people coming into these clubs, and they might request anything.
Mm-hmm.
They might request something about Duke Ellington or something. We got to learn how to play all that stuff, and being with somebody like Isaac, who was at that time was an up and coming musician, and you just have to learn a lot of music.
I definitely believe that. Going back to that Watch Stacks, and I know Isaac was the headliner, correct?
Correct.
And when he came out, and he took that, I think he had a shawl or something over.
He had a cape on.
He had a cape on, that's right. Then he took it off.
Yeah.
And then he had a shirt made of chains. I think
it wasn't a shirt made of chains. It was actually chains.
That was actually chains.
Yeah, some chains. This designer, he got the idea from us. He had these chains, and we went to the fabric store. The fabric store sells these rolls of chains.
Mm-hmm.
We got a designer to put them all together and put them all over his body.
Man, I think that was iconic. When I go back and see that scene, I mean, it's just iconic. And a matter of fact, I talk a lot of history on the station. And what I found out that I want to say it was either 79 or 76, mm-hmm. where Isaac Hayes was the first non-actor to win an Academy Award for his theme song on Chef.
Correct. And the Barcades were the band behind him on Chef. We did the soundtrack to the the movie, and then we also did the soundtrack, the recording of the record as well.
Now that part I didn't realize that. I know he sung the song. I didn't realize that was the Barcades playing that.
It's the Barcades rhythm section. Sure was.
Well, matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, we finna go ahead and get into it now. Matter of fact, we finna do a double play right now. We'll be right back. You're gonna hear Soul Finger, and you're gonna hear the theme of Chef by Isaac Hayes and the Barcades. We'll be right back.
So far, so good.
Man, so far, so good. I am loving it. Man, I mean, you got Soul Finger, and you got the theme song for Shaft. And the thing that's so ironic about it, I could play either one of them songs today. And it sounds just as good, and it's just as popular as it was when it first came out. So that's the testimony of when you have a true hit, it transcends time.
It transcends time. That's correct, man. And Tate Jones, I'm here to tell you that when we recorded the song, we didn't have no idea what we were doing. we didn't know. We had no idea what we were doing because we had gone to Stax Records to audition, and the guy that was auditioning us had turned us down.
Oh, wow.
But he said, y'all sound pretty good, so y'all can come back and audition for me again. So we came back and we auditioned again. He said, nah, y'all just don't quite have it. So as we were leaving the second time, the owner of the label, which at that time was Jim Stewart,
mm-hmm.
a little short white guy.
Yeah.
He said, who are you guys? We said, we the Barcades. He said, I've seen what's been going on. So why don't y'all come back up to here and play for me on Sunday? The studio's closed. Come back up here and play for me. I said, okay. So we came back on the Sunday, because on that Saturday, we had been playing down at this club called the Hippodrome illegally.
Right.
So, but we always played, we was playing behind a guy by the name of Norman West, who Norman West was part of a group called the Soul Church.
Mm-hmm.
But he did this song on stage called "But It's All Right" by a guy by the name of J.J. Jackson. He said, "You don't know, bum bum, dun 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 dun. You can hurt me, but it's all right." Anyway, we was playing this song, and in a certain part we got to this song. I mean, we went to this little groove. Like bands go to a little breakdown, and we young, so we didn't know what we were doing. We looking around each other. We just know it felt pretty good. So when we went to the studio the next day, the owner of the studio said, "Play something for me." We started playing this little groove. He said, "What is that?" Hey, we don't know. He said, "I tell you what, don't change nothing." He said, "Keep what you got right there." Then he ran up in control room. It was a little, it wasn't no big, like these big recording studios with
Right.
their own board and all that stuff like that. It was like real small like that. He said, he didn't even have a talkback, but he just said, and we started, Ben Carter came up with this little nursery rhyme horn line, dun, 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 dun. And then, 30 minutes later, we had a song called Soul Finger.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, y'all just heard it right there. How Soul Finger. Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, that's how my career really started taking flight, because I had already had it all planned out. If that didn't work, I was going to be that guy that you see at KFC. You come in KFC, man, you see me with the little hat on.
Yes, sir.
Man, you look like somebody I know. Oh, you James Alexander, right?
Yeah.
Give me a 3-piece. I want all thighs. so I'm gonna be working at KFC. If I didn't make it as but fortunately, God had other plans.
He had other plans. Well, you know what? Let me go into something real quick. We just found out how Soul Finger was discovered, how it became a record. Now, Spies Like Us.
Right.
When you saw a movie like that with those big name actors in it, how did they pick Soul Finger to be in there?
I don't know, but whoever did it, I'm so grateful for it, because, I tell people all the time, my mailman, well, we don't have to do it. They don't come in the mail now. They direct deposit.
Direct deposit.
But back in those days, the mailman came.
He was your best friend, wasn't he?
My mailman was one of the few people that always got a Christmas present for me every year.
Every year.
Because he delivered the goods.
Man, I was a young guy when that movie came out, Spies Like Us. And I know I've heard that song before, but at that time, I didn't realize it. There was a band, right? Because I grew up in Jackson, Tennessee.
Right.
I didn't realize that the band that did that song was right down the street in Memphis, the Arcades, Soul Finger. Now, I also heard you said you got 350 in your catalog. Is that what you said?
350 songs.
350 songs.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome right there.
Thank you.
350 songs.
And by comparison, I mean, I can just tell, people need to know this. That's a small amount compared to people like, say, for instance, Isaac Hayes and David Porter. They got maybe thousands of songs in their catalog. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, L.A. Reid and Babyface, Gamble and Huff. I think Gamble and Huff got over 3,000 songs in their catalog. Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, all these people got big catalogs. But, I tell people, we just got 350 songs, but we got some, I'm grateful.
Some bangers.
We got some iconic songs,
yes.
Thanks to the people. Mm-hmm. Because none of this would be possible. We make the music.
That's right.
But, the fans, fortunately, have to like the music or not like the music. And for us, they've liked us most of the time.
Right. Well,
Except for we live in, Memphis is a big Bible belt.
it is.
So we, back in the 70s, we put out a song called "Your Love Is Like the Holy Ghost,"
I remember that.
and we had some issues with some pastors around here. They wanted to boycott the song. That's the devil's music and all that stuff like that. Then we said, no, it ain't. Your love is like the Holy Ghost.
I remember that.
But they was calling radio stations asking them to take the music off.
I did not know that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But I can see that. I can see it. I definitely can see that. Mm. Man, now let me ask you this, Mr. Alexander. Now, Power 104.1, the source. We represent Southern Souls and R&B right here in Memphis. Why do you believe it's important for Memphis to have a radio station like this that continue to support music and artists like this?
Well, first of all, maybe the youngsters don't know anything about Memphis, about the music scene in Memphis. This is the music that got Memphis started. This is the music this is the music that helped put Memphis on the map. I mean, Southern Soul. Well, we just they call it Southern Soul now, but it's just R&B. It's just got good music. See, back in the day, they didn't have all of these different, as we call them, genres of music. You got hip hop, you got R&B. If you had a good song, and they play it anywhere. Mm-hmm. It didn't make any difference if it was rap, if it was jazz. If it was a good song, you was gonna get some airplay.
That's right.
So now they got all these divisions, and I think that is from my personal opinion, I think that has hurt the music. I mean, if you got a good song, you got a good song. Whether it's gospel, R&B, jazz, whatever it is, a good song should be heard by the masses.
I agree with you on that. Now, normally I ask the entertainers, what is your Mount Rushmore of artists that influence you? But I'm not going to ask you that today. I'm going to ask you, if you had to define the Barcades with 3 of your songs, what 3 songs would you say define the Barcades out of that 350?
I would say the first one would be Soul Finger, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Anticipation would be one. Mm-hmm. And the next one, believe it or not, my son produced a song on us back, it seemed like it was like at least 10 years ago, called Grown Folks.
Grown Folks.
Yeah, and that resonated with a lot of people. But there are so many, but those 3, and then, of course, certain areas we go in, like when we go to the D.C. area, mm-hmm. which D.C., if anybody knows anything about Washington, D.C., D.C. is a big go-go area. Mm-hmm. They like go-go music with their Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers, I Feel Like Bustin' Loose. And then the EU band doing the butt.
Yep.
And all of that stuff like that. So Your Love Is Like the Holy Ghost really had a go-go vibe to it. So that was a big record in Washington, D.C. So we go to D.C. Areas like that. We cannot leave the stage unless we play Your Love Is Like the Holy Ghost.
It's so fun that you bringing up D.C. And the reason I say that, the Power 104 staff, we went down to the Jackson Music Award, the 52nd Jackson Music Award, and there's a gentleman that did an interview with Sheba Potts, mm-hmm. Myself, and DJ Ken. And he said that he's from the D.C. area, and he said that Southern Soul or Blues is not played a lot in D.C. There's only one radio station that plays it, and it's only 2 hours per week.
Oh, wow.
And I told him, I said, well, hey, you tell all the people in D.C. to download the Power 104 app, and they can get all they want.
Right.
But now let me go back. Your son. Could you please tell everybody who your son is? You say he produced that song, Grown Folks. But do you mind telling who your son is?
His name is Phelan Alexander. He goes by his stage name of his moniker name is Jazzy Faye.
Jazzy Fiddle?
Yeah. He called himself a producer.
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot. He had done a lot, you know. He worked with the quarterback's wife. Her name is
Sierra.
Sierra, yes.
Yeah, so he discovered Sierra.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, Sierra can write too, and they went in and they wrote a song called, which ended up being one of her signature songs. She had a song called My Goodies,
right,
which was the first song that she put out. But the song that really took her over the top was a song called 1-2 Step.
That's it.
I love it when you 1-2 step.
There you go. There you go.
And you know, he always liked to put, you know, his name on the song to my ladies and gentlemen. And,
you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's a signature.
Yeah, that's all right. But I'll tell you a funny little story. He wrote and produced a song for Mary J. Blige, and Mary J. Blige told him, say, look, you know, I know you Jazzy Faye and all of that, but I do not want no ladies and gentlemen on the beginning of my song. And you know what he said?
What did he say?
Okay.
I know he did.
Yeah, because you know what the song ended up being?
What's that?
Just fine, 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 fine.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, so he wrote and produced that. And,
wow.
And did the beat. So, you know, know, like I said, he called himself a producer. We call him a reducer, but he's a producer. You know, we have a little fun kicking it, but you know, he's done some incredible work.
Well, Mr. Alexander, you know, we're definitely gonna have to bring you back. But before we get out of here today, tell us about the new stuff you got going on with the Barcades.
Well, we got this new song called Back Up Off the Wall, and it came about. There's this friend of mine that he ended up moving to Northwest Arkansas, of all places. But, you know, for those who don't know anything about Northwest Arkansas is, there are more millionaires in that vicinity than maybe the whole state of Tennessee. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but just take FYI. Located up there is the big trucking company called J.B. Hunt.
J.B. Hunt, I've heard that.
That's the largest trucking company in the world. J.B. Hunt.
I didn't realize that.
It's located in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
Tyson Foods.
Mm-hmm.
It's located in Northwest Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And Walmart.
I think it's Bentonville. Is it Bentonville or Ben?
Yeah, but all this in Northwest Arkansas, all this like Bentonville is like driving from downtown Memphis to Cordova.
Okay.
And all that's right in their vicinity was a lot of people up there with a lot of money. So they moved up there. And plus, you know, the University of Arkansas is up there.
Right. I heard it's beautiful up there. I heard
beautiful. Yeah, it's up in the
there.
mountains. So he said, "Come up here, man. I'm working on this stuff." And he played me this track, and he said, I can't quite finish it." So I had this, you know, I had a bass line. I said, "Man, why don't you let me try this bass line on the song?" So I put the bass line on there, and then the song started. And he said, "I got some lyrics to it." So he said, "I know this guy. He's a graphic designer. You know, he's studied graphic design work at the University of Arkansas. Let's let him come on and do the demo." So we said, okay. He came and did the demo, and it, you know, sounded pretty good. So we just kept it. Well, he wanted to keep it,
right?
You know, because the idea was to bring the demo back for our singer to sing it, but we kept it, and it you know, it's starting to work.
Oh yeah, we're definitely playing over here. I mean, I like the sound. When I heard it, I said, "Oh man, I like that."
Yeah, thank you so much.
To me, it's like a different sound than I've heard before from the Barcades.
Yeah, it's a different sound. I mean, and thanks to the people are gravitating towards it. And hey, y'all can go and y'all can download it on all your digital platforms. You know, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon. Wherever you get your music, you can get it.
Well, Mr.
And you can listen to 104.1, the source.
That's right, Power 104.
Power 104. But
go.
Tate Jones is always on your microphone.
You better believe it. So, Mr. Alexander, now, before we get out of here again, if people want to get in touch with you or they want to book the Barcades. Do you get that information out?
Yeah, all they have to do is go to our Facebook page and go to the Barcades. They can go to Facebook or Instagram, and they can find out how to do it there.
Okay. Well, y'all just got it right there from James Alexander, one of the living founders of the legendary group, the Barcades. Now, Mr. Alexander, my name is Tate Jones on the microphone. Can I get you to say it with me now? Tate Jones on the microphone. Power 104.1 The Source, Memphis #1 Southern Soul and R&B station. Appreciate everybody checking in on the Tate Jones show right here. Until next Sunday, or should I say tomorrow, 4 to 6, I'll see you.